Hi, this is Carolyn Service with odebstamping.com. I'm excited to share this project that I've made with you today. It is a series of 3 birthday cards and matching envelopes, and then a cute little gift presentation that you can package them all inside. So, I want to show you how to make this today. Let's get started. So I'm going to start with the gift bag, and these can be found on page 201 of our current catalog. It says tag a bag at the very top of the page, and you can see that there are 2 different styles. So one has a chevron, if you can see that in here or not, a chevron design, and then the other one, the one that I've chose to use today, has little tiny polka dots on it. You can purchase these for $3.95 for 10 bags. They're very simple to make, and excuse me, I got a little tickle in my throat this morning. So we're going to start with the bag. This looks like this. We're going to take our paper snips and we're going to cut down the seam at each side about 1.5 inches. Whatever measurement you decide to use, you just want to make sure that it's the same on both sides, so that when you turn this down, it's equal. Okay, then I also took a piece of Marina Mist cardstock, and that measures 4 1/4 by 4 3/4. I also then took our star confetti punch, might be called confetti star punch, I'm not sure, and just opened that up. I'll show you a little trick with this. Inside the edge right here, you see there's a little brown line right there. So when you put your paper in, you want to line it up with that little brown line to punch it. And then when you scoot it down, you want to line up these stars with the silver stars on the plate here. When you get those lined up so that you can't see any of the actual tan base of the, got that going too far, sorry. Tan base of the card, of the punch. Can you see that? How all the silver is showing through the holes? Then you're going to punch your second set of stars. And save them because they make great confetti for your shaker cards. Okay, then we're just going to put a little bit of adhesive right below the line of stars. And I actually took a few glue dots as well. And put them up towards the top on each side, and then one also in the middle. Okay, and that'll keep that insert in the bag. It'll keep it, you know, right where you want it to stay. Also, you can make this the length of your bag, and then that'll help stabilize it as well, but I'm very frugal with my cardstock, so I decided I didn't really need for it to go all the way to the bottom, so going right along in here was fine for me. Okay, whoops, not quite right there. There we go. When you get it where you want it, just press it down. The next thing you're going to want to do is to get a 1/2 inch circle punch. You're going to insert your paper bag all the way into the punch as far as it'll go, and into the middle of the center of the bag, and punch. You're going to move it to the side. Lift this up a little bit. There we go. And you're going to punch another hole halfway between the side of the bag, the edge of the bag, and this center hole here. And it doesn't have to be exact, but, and then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay. Then you're going to take a piece of ribbon. Now I will say this ribbon, some of the items that I'm using today are retired items, but you can, this is one of those projects that you can substitute whatever that you possibly have. So we're going to actually take this, I'm going to trim both of the edges of these ribbons. There we go. You're going to put it around the back of the bag. And if you want, you can put a little bit of adhesive just to hold it in place. It's going to center it, I think that's about right, so that it lays right across the holes here. You're going to take this piece and you're going to go down through the hole to the side and up through the hole in the center. Making this look a lot harder than it is. So I think, okay. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. So down through the hole on the side and up through the hole in the middle. And then you're just going to pull those tight. There we go. And tie in a knot. Now when you do the second loop of your knot, you want to try to not pull it too tight on the one that's on the front here, on the top I should say. It'll give you a lot nicer presentation. And if you want your tails here to just be straight out, you can put a little glue dot under each, right on each side of the knot. I'll wait and do that later. Okay, then to, excuse me, my voice is funny this morning. To make the decoration, we're going to be using the Balloon Bash stamp set and the Happy Birthday block and Early Espresso ink pad. We're going to use a small piece of Very Vanilla. It doesn't matter if you have that in the center because we are going to cut that out with a framelit. Didn't quite get it inked up as well as I want. I'm going to try doing that one more time. Excuse me. Oh, I know why. If you have it's a good time to tell you about this. If you have something where your design isn't like quite getting inked really well and it just sort of leaves a little blank space, something that will help will be to take a paper piercing pad and put that underneath your stamp. Because there is no rubber layer in the photopolymer stamps, sometimes that helps to have a layer underneath that will kind of give a little bit of give to it. So let's try that one more time. Much better. I'm going to actually cut this out first. And one thing that I forgot was I wanted to sponge the outside of this as well, so I'm going to make sure I remember to do that. So we're going to put the magnetic platform. Again, this is the Chalk Talk framelit, and this one is from, this framelit is from the set of the Labels collection. Okay, and I'll put this on the top, and I'm going to do this off screen. If you don't own a Big Shot, I highly recommend it. It's one of my most used tools in my crafting supplies. Okay, so then we'll have two pieces that look like this. Now I'm going to bring in the sprinkles and just add them around the outside edge of the labels framelit. Okay. And then I'm going to take my Early Espresso ink pad and one of the sponges that we have. I just usually cut mine in quarters, sometimes even more than quarters. Put a little handy dandy clothespin holder on it, and then it's ready to work for me. I love the effect that sponging gives. It just adds that extra dimension. I think it really makes a difference. It only takes a few seconds. And there we go. Okay. So now I'm going to take some dimensionals add it to the back of my Marina Mist. Take a couple more, add them to the back of my happy birthday message. Okay, let me bring my bag back in. Put that out for a while. And then we're just going to place this on the bag. Okay, and that's how easy it is to make the bag. So we're all done with that. So we're going to move on to the cards. So the 4 cards that I have, or 3, I'm sorry. The 3 cards that I have look like that. And then I've stamped the back of the envelopes with the happy birthday. You could change the color scheme and make this very girly, but I kind of was looking for something masculine, although according to my husband, I just don't do well with masculine cards. I never get them quite masculine enough, I guess. But anyway, we're going to give this a try. So we're going to start with this particular card. And so for that, let's see here. There's a lot of supplies in this particular project, so I'm kind of reaching around everywhere, it looks like. Here we go. Here are the supplies that we need. So this, another framelit. As you can see, I use my Big Shot and the framelits quite a bit in my projects. This is out of the Window Frames collection. And we're going to use our Very Vanilla, and again our Marina Mist, as well as Early Espresso and a piece of matching designer paper. Okay, so then I have just these 2 pieces of Very Vanilla as well to make the large piece that you see here, as well as another piece that I'm going to pop up that just has the word Celebrate. So I don't know if you can see that. This is actually 2 different. Can you see how that's popped up? So it's cut out separately. So I'll show you how we do that. Okay, so we need the big stamp and the Early Espresso ink. Okay. Again, I have my pad underneath, so it makes a better impression. There we are. And then I also want to clean that up. And a small piece of vanilla. And we're going to ink this up. Make sure it's dry. We're going to ink this up with Marina Mist. Now the only thing you really need to be inking up here is the word Celebrate. Alright, I'm just going to Pop that down. And we're actually going to cut this piece out by hand. I guess I could have done this prior to the video. Apologize, but one thing I will say while I'm doing this is if you don't own a pair of our paper snips, these small scissors, they're excellent quality. They are sharp. They cut well into points because they're sharp all the way to the tip. There's no space in them like sometimes you will find in a lesser grade quality, or lesser quality I should say, scissor. But these will cut right to the point, which makes it nice for trimming. Okay, so we have that. And then we're going to take a framelit, a magnetic platform, and you're going to want the round piece at the top here, and then just center it. That looks pretty good. Put this piece on the top, and again I'm going to go off camera. Then when it comes out, it actually cuts that right away. So simple. And then again, I'm going to take my sponge, my Early Espresso ink. Just gives that a little bit of sponging around the edge. And I hope you'll forgive me for using some of my retired paper, but this project is so easy just to use whatever you have on hand. And if you don't have designer paper on hand, by all means, we have a wonderful selection in our catalog at any given time. So, you know, feel free to add that to your order if you like this project. Okay, put that aside. Then I'm going to take a couple of dimensionals, add that to the back. Peel that off. I need to get a different set of dimensionals, I think. Actually, I have another set right there, so maybe I need to switch to those. There we go. And add that right over the top of the banner. There we go. Okay, then I'm going to just set this aside for the moment. I'll bring the Marina Mist back in and my sprinkles again. And I'm just going to stamp in each corner. Get my 2 pieces of cardstock and designer paper. Put a little bit of adhesive on the back of this one. And add it right down the center. I'm going to repeat that with the designer paper. Off here, looks like just a tiny bit long. There we go. And then I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back here. Okay, and then just add that to the center. All right. Roll adhesive on the back of this. Get out my very vanilla background, card base, and voila, there's your first card. Okay, alrighty. Okay, so this is a really simple one. We're just going to take our designer paper, add it to the edge here. This designer paper is measuring 1/4 of an inch smaller than my card base. So my card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is measuring 1 inch, right? Yep. 1 inch across and 5 1/4 inches down. Okay, now I need my balloon, and actually I think I'm going to do my happy birthday block first. Okay. All right, put that right at the bottom. And then we'll do the balloons. Now I do have one bit of advice on this. Let's see this better. So this piece here, the string on the balloon, very thin, very narrow. So you have to be really careful when you're inking that up that you don't rock it and get ink on the parts of the sides of the photopolymer there. And if you do, you do. You know, it's no big deal. It's a handmade card, so sometimes, you know, just expect it for it to not be 100% perfect. But try very carefully not to rock this image when you put it down on your paper. Not too bad, not too bad. Okay, and then for your second one, and I found too that sometimes this is easier to ink up with a marker, and that helps to not get the extra ink on your string there. And then we're just going to come down a little bit off to the side. I'm going to try to crisscross the strings. There we go. All right, here is the third card. Okay, so with the third card, what I did to start out was I took a piece of early espresso paper and ran it through the wood grain, can you see that, embossing folder, so that it came out with a texture on it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add that to my card front. Now anytime I have a lot of texture or ribbon around this piece, I always like to use my multi-purpose glue rather than my snail adhesive. Or you could also use Fast Fuse. But sometimes when there's texture to the paper, the snail doesn't like to hold on to it quite as well. So sometimes you might need a little something extra. But I love the texture on the paper. Again, this is done using the Big Shot. You put it in the embossing folder, and you put it through the Big Shot. Okay, the next thing I used was a 2-inch by 4-inch piece of vanilla paper, cardstock rather, that I put through my tag topper, scallop tag topper punch to get this design. And then I took a few pieces, a few threads I should say, of the burlap ribbon, and these are approximately 9 inches long. I folded all 3 of them, just folded them together, and then put them through the front to the back, whoops, 1 second there, of the bookmark, opened up the loop, and put the ends through the loop and pulled tight. Okay, and then you can trim those. Get this out of the way and get my other balloon that says yay on it. my Marina Mist. And again, be careful on the string of the balloon. If you think you'd have better luck using a marker for this technique, by all means do so. Okay, and you're going to put this on at an angle so that you have room for your birthday greeting. So I'm going to put this on a smaller block, and I'm actually going to stamp this up with Early Espresso. And it probably would have been better off, actually, now that I'm looking at my next step, to wait and put the burlap ribbon on at the very end, because one of the other things I want to do is to sponge around the edge of this as well. Okay, then I'll put a couple of dimensionals on the back of this. Can you tell I like dimensionals? I like dimension on my cards. That's the thing. I like for it to not necessarily just lay flat, but to have a little bit of character to it. And so that's one of the things I like to use. It's simple, it's fast, and I think it does add a lot of dimension to the card. Okay, and I'm just going to set that aside for the moment. The next thing I want to do is to add some designer paper banners. Okay, so I'm actually going to take my sprinkle stamp again, and a piece of scrap paper, here we go. Okay, my Marina Mist, and just a piece of blue cards, or Marina Mist cardstock that measures 1 1/4 by 3 3/4. And I'm just going to randomly stamp that. Okay. Take my scissors, actually let me get this covered up before I put my elbow in it. Take my scissors and just cut up right at the center, about 3/4 of an inch, and then in from each corner and up to the point. I just find that's an easy way to make a banner. Okay, I'm just going to lay that down about right there. Okay, then I'm going to take a piece of designer paper. I'm going to just do that same thing to make it look like a little banner. Lay that down. And then my last one, and the further that you go up, the further that you cut that center piece, the deeper that banner is going to be. Again, I'm going to use my Tombow adhesive because of the pattern, because of the, it's not flat, if that makes sense. It's got that raised pattern to it. And I'm just going to put that down, maybe a little up, further up. Yeah, that looks about right. There we go. And I'm going to take this, I'm going to put that right over the top of those. Trim my burlap ribbon, and there's the third card. So let's bring those all out. Here we go. So quick, fun, and easy, and I just love the presentation of taking the envelopes and the cards, tucking them all inside this cute little bag. And there's your gift. Love it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, by all means, please shoot me an email or leave me a comment. I am Carolyn Service, and I am at your service. So have a wonderful day, and visit my blog at www.otbstamping.com. I'd love to have you visit. Thank you.